Land in Lenox, Alabama, August 31st, no Hawaiian shirt, because today, August 31st, is Diatomaceous Earth Day, a major holiday someplace, not around here. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about diatomaceous earth and ask you evolutionists to explain, how did this evolve? I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can explain how anything evolved, but that's okay. Let's go comments on comments. You get a bunch of comments ready if people send them in. I'm going to talk about diatomaceous earth for a little bit, and then we will take all the comments and questions you got. Okay, let's see. We're on Rumble. Is going to be a major channel, so please turn over. If they shut us off on YouTube, which they seem to like to do, go to Rumble or to Odyssey or Dr.Dino on YouTube, okay? They're all listed on Dr.Dino.com. The fool said in his heart, there's no God. You're a fool if you don't believe in God. How can you not see design in this? By the way, somebody sent me, the flat earth idea is on the way out. There's a new one, not flat earth, hot dog earth.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Earth is shaped like a hot dog. So there you go. Okay, let's see. August 31st. What on earth is diatomaceous earth? Well, let's see. National Diatomaceous Earth Day, August 31st. I said, hey, I like diatomaceous earth. Let's talk about that. Expanding the future of minerals from dicalcite.com. Dicalcite produces and sells diatomaceous earth. Perlite and vermiculite for use in building, filtration, fire-resistant products. Our minerals are used as ingredients for paint, coatings, pet care, soil amendments for plants, and much more. They have 5 mining complexes. I visited one in Lompoc, California, the diatomaceous earth quarry. Diatomaceous earth, maybe you've never heard of it. It's a white powder, and it can depend how you find it. You have to grind it up to turn it into powder. It's used for all kinds of things, okay? Harris food grade diatomaceous earth. See, if you have bacteria in your gut, this will kill them. Just eat a spoonful of dirt, diatomaceous earth. Here's a bunch of it in the middle of the Sahara Desert. This white powder is trillions of itty bitty tiny diatom shells. I mean, like real tiny, okay? Diatomaceous earth, naturally occurring soft silicous sedimentary rock that can be crumbled into a fine off-white powder. It's made from the fossilized remains of tiny aquatic organisms called diatoms, which have accumulated in the sediment of rivers, streams, lakes, and oceans over a long period of time. So you don't get it published if you don't say long, millions of years, right? The dried sediment produced from these fossils is very high in silica. Diatomaceous earth has 2 main types: food grade, suitable for consumption, and filter grade, which is inedible but has many industrial uses. Run stuff through a diatomaceous earth filter and it catches all the little tiny stuff. Okay. The ancient Greeks used it to make buildings, bricks and blocks, etc. All right. Here's a video about diatomaceous earth. Of course, this guy believes in evolution, but that's all right. We will explain it to you. Let's see.
Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about diatomaceous earth, okay? Now, some people know this product as a bug killer because when bugs consume it, they die. But
the reason bugs die with it, all along the side of the bug's body are little tiny holes that they breathe through. Spiracles. I'll show you pictures in a minute. This stuff is so tiny, it plugs the hole. So you sprinkle diatomaceous earth around, all the insects die because it plugs their breathing tubes. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, who cares?
But it's also something that we can consume too. You do not want to inhale it, by the way, but taking a food grade diatomaceous earth is actually a very, very safe thing, and it's very, very healthy. It can actually help detox metals in the body. It can help kill pathogens. You want to make sure you get the food grade, which is a non-crystalline form, okay? So it's not heated, because when you actually heat this product, it turns into a crystal, and that's not the form.
Those are itty-bitty diatoms. They come in all sorts of shapes. They did not evolve. None of them did. You evolutionists, would you please explain how this evolved? Pick the diatoms. Tell me how they evolved, especially when they get to how they reproduce. We might do that someday. I'll add it to the list. All right, let's see.
Form that you want to consume. So what is diatomaceous earth?
Good question.
It's basically prehistoric, about 13 to 50 million years ago.
Baloney. It was formed during the flood. I'll show you in a minute. Okay.
Fossilized phytoplankton, okay? Phyto meaning plant. So it's like an algae. And this phytoplankton consumes on a yearly basis 6.7 billion metric tons of silica. So it pulls in the silica. And when this plankton dies, it leaves the shell at the bottom of the ocean or seabed. So in certain oceans, there's about a half a mile of this shell.
So a half a mile of all this stuff all fit in a dot smaller than a proton, didn't it? Come on now, atheists. You should get a whole bunch of them. I should just get them to admit that. You got the video you put together about they're related to a pig and a frog and all that stuff. Ask them, do you believe all the Rocky Mountains fit in a dot? Oh, yeah. You believe the whole planet Earth fit in that dot? Oh, yeah. You believe all the stars fit in that dot? Oh, yeah. They do, don't they? I'll get them to admit that. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. Interrupted.
Sitting there. So you can see that these guys have been around for a very, very long time.
Yeah. You can see they've been around a long time because he put it on the chalkboard. I mean, if you write it on the chalkboard, it's got to be true. Right. Gashmu saith it. Right. Okay.
Really interesting though is 50% of the oxygen that you breathe on this planet is created by phytoplankton. So the real big benefit of diatomaceous earth is the silica. Okay. And by the way, it's the second most prevalent element on this planet other than oxygen, so it's all over the place. But it's really good for maintaining the structure of our bodies. Great for the nails, strong nails. If you have brittle nails, you need to take some of this. Good for the hair. It makes your hair really shiny and healthy. It actually gives the skin more of a fuller look, so it's less wrinkly. As you age, you lose silica. So if you're over the age of 50, taking some of this could actually help you look more youthful. It's great for ligaments and tendons and elasticity.
Anyway, it's good stuff. Diatomaceous earth. I want to get on something else here tonight, though. Let's see. Right here, comments on comments. Diatomaceous earth. Okay, we'll go to this one now. Slide number 232. Okay. The Bible says when God made the world, there was water under the crust of the earth. That's where the flood water came from. The fountains of the deep broke open. And there was a crust of earth to stand on, maybe 10 miles thick, I'm just guessing, and then a layer of air to breathe, again, probably 10 miles, and then a crystalline canopy overhead. I'm a strong believer in the canopy theory, okay? If you don't believe it, you're wrong, I believe. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about all this in video number 6 of my series. You can get the seminar series, $50 for 18 hours. Anyway, the earth cracked up at the time of the flood. The fountains of the deep broke open. The earth is still cracked up like an eggshell. And some of those fault lines are still moving. And earthquakes and volcanoes, most of them are along those fault lines. Who cares? Anyway, so this water came shooting out from inside the crust of the earth. And this, Walt Brown had a great video about that on In the Beginning by Walt Brown. We could never find his book for sale, could we? I have my copy from my library here, but In the Beginning, fabulous book. We can't find it. Anyway, a great video that he did, the fountains of the deep breaking open, would cause the crack where they come out to erode wider, and at some point it'll get wide enough that the basalt underneath can push up, causing the plates to slide away. Anyway, and that causes the wrinkled mountains. But this water shooting out into the oceans especially would be hot water, and it would kill the diatoms by the trillions. Okay, I know there's no such word as a trillion, you atheists. They're going to comment on that. Let me explain. Million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, sextillion, septillion, octillion, novillion, decillion, oncillion, docillion, vigillion, centillion. How high you want to count. Okay, never mind. So this hot water would kill these itty-bitty diatoms, and they're real tiny. They join together and make chains, and they find these things. Diatoms are unicellular organisms, which are covered with a cell wall containing silica, which is called frustule. They belong to the major algae group, which consists of many types of phytoplankton. They exist in colonies and form shapes like filaments, zigzag, stellated patterns, and ribbon-shaped colonies. And they can reproduce. Let's see. They're non-motile. They can't move, some of them. And their sperm have flagella to swim around. How did that evolve? The vegetative cells of diatoms are diploid, and hence they undergo meiosis rather than mitosis. You can study all that. Okay. So the word diatom is derived from the Greek. Di means across. Tome means cut. So they're bilateral. They're like they're been cut in half. Let's see. They can live in fresh as well as salt water. They can even survive in soil. Diatoms occur in hundreds of different shapes, and their size ranges from 10 millionths to 150 millionths of a meter. Real tiny. Diatom ooze at the bottom of the water bodies is formed by the sedimentation of dead diatoms. Scientists have come across diatom fossils that are 185 million years old. And guess what? They look the same. They're not 185 million years old, guys. Diatoms are absolutely amazing if you want to study them. In today's official Diatomaceous Earth Day, they are stunning. You really think nobody made this? This happened by chance over billions of years of mistakes, mutations. It just formed this beautiful design. They slowly accumulate. It might take 1,000 years to get 1 inch at the bottom of the ocean. They're real tiny. However, if a bunch of hot water squirted into the ocean at the same time, like when the fountains of the deep broke open, now they would die and snow to the bottom and make a really thick layer. All over the world, they find this stuff, diatomaceous earth filter powder, pure diatomaceous earth. It's used for swimming pool filters, detergent, fertilizer, insulation, soundproofing, paper finish, brick, paint thickeners, oil dry, insecticides, polishes, cat litter, paint remover, scores of other things. Insects breathe through their skin through little tiny holes called spiracles. The diatomaceous earth is so tiny, it plugs the hole, and the critter can't breathe, and he dies. I went down to the largest diatomaceous earth quarry in the world in Lompoc, California, 98 feet above sea level, population 40,000 people. There it is, right on the San Andreas Fault. Right where the water came squirting out at the time of the flood. Yep. You go to the Sea Light Corporation there, there's a mountain made of trillions of diatoms. Remember, they are so small you can't see one without a good microscope. How many would it take to make that hill? Diatomaceous earth goes for 100 miles and is often hundreds of feet thick. They dig it out with bulldozers. They mine it like they did the gravel around here. At the Diatomaceous Earth Quarry in Lompoc, California, remarkable discovery was made by mining operations in 1976. Workers of the Dicalcite Division uncovered the fossil skeleton of a baleen whale. The whale fossil is standing on end in the quarry and is 80 feet long. Well, wait a minute. Now, it's the thickness of the whale because the layers are all tilted right there. How do you get a whale to be fossilized in the middle of diatomaceous earth? Well, I'd say if there was a bunch of hot water squirting out of the crust of the earth into the ocean, it would kill everything within a certain radius of that crack, San Andreas Fault, and stuff would snow to the bottom. And the dead animals got trapped down there. Here's me holding some diatomaceous earth, took my wonderful Swiss Army knife, peeled it in half. They find trillions of fossils inside the diatomaceous earth, like this one, itty bitty tiny fish fossil, and this one, another itty bitty tiny fish fossil, and this one. They find them by the trillions in diatomaceous earth. It's almost like the diatoms and the fish and the whales all died at the same time because of the same thing, a rapid temperature change. What do you think? I think the flood model in the Bible is the best way to explain all that. So, see, this is from Britannica.com, found it today. See samples of what possibly soft tissue discovered in a Lufengosaurus fossil. Whew. I've never seen a Lufengosaurus. Anybody ever seen one of them? Lufengosaurus. Anyway, from the Jurassic period. There's no such thing as a Jurassic period. But it looks like, hold it, soft tissue preserved in this diatomaceous earth? There's plenty of videos about this stuff. Diatoms are unbelievably complex. You really think nobody designed this? Atheists, explain how this happened, please. Those are all different diatom shapes. Don't you ever just wish you could say, wow, there's a designer, and he's pretty smart? You can't say that, though, can you? Billions of fossils are found in diatomaceous earth. Let's see. Red Lake earth, diatomaceous earth, diatomite, fossil shell flower, diatomaceous earth, food grade. Oh, you can eat it. Here we go. Food grade diatomaceous earth. Mineral resource of the month, the diatomite. Atheists, would you please stop and think? Do you really, really believe that did not have a designer? Look at it. Nobody designed it. It formed by random chance mutations, mistakes over billions of years. How to use diatomaceous earth. National Fossil Day, 10 million year old fossils in diatomaceous earth. Wow. Let's see. Let's celebrate the 10 million year old stickleback fish fossils found in Nevada. Yay, stickleback. They're not 10 million years old, though. We celebrated them. Okay. Let's see. Fish fossils found in diatomaceous earth. They're all over. Huh. Well, hold it, guys. These are white chalk cliffs of Dover, very similar. Chalk is real tiny, microscopic creatures. How many would it take to make that cliff, the white cliffs of Dover? They call it the Cretaceous age, after chalk, which is the Latin word for chalk, Cretia. The chalk cliffs of Dover. There's no such thing as a Cretaceous age. All this happened at the flood. Let's see. Another look at the rock cycle. The white cliffs of Dover, mostly chalk, calcite. The Bible says the waters prevailed and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the water. I think during the first few months of the flood, the dead animals settled out and were buried, and the swirling waters deposited great piles of dead animals and plants, and the coal, some became coal and some became fossil graveyards. Just the tide going up and down during Noah's flood, there'd be a tidal pumping, and things would tend to accumulate in different areas like they do now at the bottom of rivers, and the things accumulate in little piles because the water's swirling around. We can take these things, flip them over, make a whole bunch of different layers in a matter of minutes. There's only two densities of sand in here, the blue and the white, but it make 20 or 30 layers. These sand art things, toys, ought to get you atheist attention and say, look, the layers are not different ages. They all formed during Noah's flood. It's the sideways movement of the water that creates all this. And when the hot water, when the temperature change was radical enough, it would kill the diatoms, and instead of taking 1,000 years to get an inch, it would take 2 hours to get 1,000 feet of the diatoms snowing down to the bottom. Moving water forms layers horizontally. There is no geologic column. All the layers formed horizontally, and you could have a fossil on top that's actually older than a fossil at the bottom because the layers are not forming vertically. Underwater landslides and turbidity currents can do great damage. Okay, 1929, the transatlantic cable was cut by an underwater turbidity current. It was going 70 miles an hour and covered 40,000 square miles off the coast of Newfoundland. It cut the transatlantic cable. Moving water can swirl around, rising and lowering water. The tide did this. Fossils are found in strange positions, like their head tilted back, like they're trying to get their last breath, like they're quickly being buried in something. 1934, Barnum Brown, famous dinosaur discoverer, on a ranch owned by Barker Howe, who lived at the foot of Bighorn Mountains. He said the concentration of fossils was remarkable. They were piled like logs in a jam. How can you get a log jam full of fossils? The flood. Look at this. 4 oreodonts, small hoofed mammals, found in Nebraska, petrified in the swimming position. You wonder, did they get buried quickly? Yeah. Robert Bloom, the South African paleontologist, estimates there are 800,000 million. That's a lot. Of vertebrate animals with a backbone in the Karoo Formation. There they are right there, southern Africa. Karoo Formation. In Belgium, back in 1878, a remarkable concentration of iguanodon skeletons were discovered 1,000 feet below ground in a Belgian coal mine. Who'd have thunk it? Thus, it could be seen that the fossil boneyard was one of gigantic proportions, especially notable because of its vertical extension through more than 100 feet of rock. How do you get a fossil graveyard? Here's what the coastal redwoods grow. Right now, it's the only place you find coastal redwoods. But there's a redwood tree stump on Axel Island, way up north. fossil forest of Axel Island, way up here in northern Canada. How do you explain fossil redwoods? Way up there. Huh. You think maybe the world was different before the flood? See, it's really not complicated. God made the world in 6 days. I happen to believe, you can take the slide down for a minute, brother. I happen to believe, just the theory, that the earth was not tilted over 23.5 degrees. It was probably perpendicular. And the earth was spinning around perpendicular while it circles the sun. So everybody had 12 hours daylight, 12 hours darkness. The water inside the crust of the earth cracked out and the water came to the surface and caused the earth to wobble for a few hundred years and now settled in at 23.5 degrees. And now we have seasons. The seasons aren't mentioned until in the Bible till after Noah's flood. I think it was all springtime all the time, and there were redwood trees growing on Axel Island. No problem. They're growing all over the world. At the South Pole, oh yeah. Axel Heiberg, first discovered in 1899 by Norwegian. Yeah, the Norwegians vårde står det till idag. Yeah, okay. The third largest uninhabited island and the tiny spot on which the fossil forest lies was not discovered till 1985. That summer, helicopter pilot noticed a concentration of fossil logs and stumps from the air. He landed, had a quick look around, then reported his find to scientists. Next summer, one of them returned to investigate. Axel Heiberg's fossil forest isn't unique. There are half a dozen others on neighboring Ellesmere Island. This is by far the richest. They found over 200 trees. More emerge all the time as erosion wears away the soft badland hillside. Some stumps are more than 2.5 meters in diameter. Woo-wee. What's that, about 8-foot diameter? That's a pretty big stump growing up near the North Pole, since nothing grows on that island now, except a little bitty tiny moss, I think. The trees were 50 meters high. What's that, about 165 feet? That's a big tree. On Axel Island, there's one fell down, broke up, petrified trees. Huh. Guys, the flood, the Bible is scientifically accurate. God made everything in 6 days, everything. The flood destroyed the world, and that's how you best explain the diatomaceous earth, Axel Island. All this stuff happened because of Noah's flood. Okay, comments you got there, brother? I got some from the internet, but I'll just take what you got there first, okay?
Yeah, so creation is probably a two-parter.
The whale skeleton was not found in a vertical position, but lying at an angle of 40 to 50 degrees. Oh, brother. So it's not quite vertical, it's 40 to 50 degrees. What do you do all day, crybaby? Do you have like a job? What do you know about him?
Nothing.
I said, and you go back and look at my slides here, I'll call them up for you. Let's see. Oh. Right here, let me find it. I said very clearly, you're missing the major point though, crybaby, okay? Slide number 261, Alt-DV, 261, enter. So see the drawing I made with the little lines on there? I said, here, where is it? Here. The fossil whale is standing on end in the quarry and is about 80 feet long. Note, the layers are tilted, so the thickness of the whale is the problem to explain, not the length. Okay? It's 80 feet long, but it's probably 10 feet thick. How do you explain 10 feet of diatomaceous earth developing quickly? And then all the mountains lifted up. The Bible says in Psalm 104, the mountains arose, the valleys sank down. I think the crust of the earth was cracked up like an eggshell, and still is. And some of those big plates are tilting and shifting. They must have tilted up quite a ways here, 40 to 50 degrees. I agree. You have a whale fossil in the diatomaceous earth. How did that happen? Explain it. Okay. Any intelligent questions tonight? Let's see. If I can make cake batter, bake one layer now, wait a bit, wait about a week, and then bake another, then do so again 2 more times, would you eat the cake, or is the first layer older than the others and now moldy? Well, I don't know. Carlos, are you a good cook? Can you put it in the freezer? I mean, I don't know.
It's a decent one for Rosina.
What kind of question is that?
All your fans are good.
Oh, Rose. Rosina, does Kent think there was no mountains or hills on Earth, poor English, but that's okay, before the flood? Does he think it was a flat planet like the water world in Interstellar? Well, there's Rosanna, there are two extremes here, okay? Was it mountains or flat? Well, there's hills in between that, okay? The Bible says at the flood time, all the high hills were covered. I believe God clearly told us in Isaiah 45 that he created the earth to be inhabited, and most of the steep mountain ranges are not inhabitable or habitable by mankind. So probably there weren't any of the steep mountain ranges like we have today. I think that probably happened because of the flood or after the flood when the crust settled in. The crust of the earth is still settling in 4,500 years later. It's still moving. Ask the folks in Lompoc, California, if they get earthquakes. Or just Google, when's the last earthquake? Probably were 500 of them today in the world. Ask the folks in Japan, they know about them. So, okay, sorry, Rosanna, keep studying, all right? What do we got there?
Try maybe said to get this answered.
It died in anoxic place, and diatomaceous sediment slowly covered it. It shows no signs of catastrophic deposition. The fossil, if I understand it right, was nearly complete intact. All the bones are still connected. When they find them all articulated, it had to be buried quickly after death. Because if it rotted, I tell you what, our pig died. They put it up on the sand dune, didn't bury it deep enough. And the buzzards picked it clean, didn't they? I bet they dragged bones all over the place. See, if it rots and decomposes before it's buried, it'll get scattered around. When you get fully articulated skeletons, let's see, fully articulated skeletons, which they find all over the world by the millions, okay, let me show you here. These fish, fully articulated, it had to be buried quickly after death, or even buried alive and died in the diatomaceous ooze. So otherwise it would be rotted and fall apart. You guys just don't get it. I wish you could. You're desperately trying to defend your religion, and I admire your faith. I don't admire your science or your intelligence, but I do admire your faith. Okay? Any more?
Nah.
Okay, I've been talking a lot today. I can hardly talk anymore. I better quit. All right, half hour. Thank you so much. Tomorrow night is a debate, right?
Yes, sir.
On what channel?
Standing for truth.
Standing for Truth. We'll announce it here. But today, happy Diatomaceous Earth Day. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Bye.